Hi there, Laura here from Get Organized HQ, and I want to talk about some things you probably forgot to clean, and some of these you really should be cleaning, or there could be some dire consequences. Also, if you do them wrong, there will definitely be dire consequences, so stay tuned and I'll tell you all about that, including how I made it rain in my video room, which is why I'm not in there today because we are still dealing with the water damage, but I'll tell you all about it. Now, I'm gonna guess you guys may have forgotten to clean this because guess what? I forgot to clean this too. I actually did not know until recently that this was a thing. Now, I got this dishwasher not too long ago, and many dishwashers, not all, but many, mine included, have filters in them that you are supposed to clean. I think the recommendation is about once a month. Now, it's been a few months, so this thing may be nasty. I don't know what we're gonna find. We're gonna discover together, but if you have one of these, you should definitely clean it. And if you notice, I have gloves on because I figure this might be a little bit icky. So let's dive in and see what we find in there. So I'm gonna start by opening my dishwasher. Obviously, you can see there's dirty dishes in there. And then let's get in there to where you can see that thing that sticks up. I know it's a little hard to see. We're doing pretty good. So this thing right here, and then I'm just unscrewing it, came off with great ease. Oh, there's a lot of water in there. Oh my, it is not delightful, but it can be rinsed off. Okay, I'm gonna get this out of the way because I don't wanna get this dirty. Okay, and then I'm just gonna rinse it. So I'm putting on the sprayer, I'm getting it as hot as I can. Like, I don't exactly know how to do this. There weren't big chunks like I was expecting though. It was all pretty kind of mushy food, I guess you would say. It is a little nasty, I'm not gonna lie. But it's not as bad as I was thinking it possibly could be. There's also a string in there, which I don't think is good. I'm kind of afraid to take it apart any more than this. I don't think it's supposed to come apart. Well, it does say unlock. So I actually think it could come apart. Oh, look at that. This part comes out. Well, what do you know? It was not nearly as bad as I was expecting. There's a little piece of like strings that have gotten caught in there that I'm cleaning out. I'm gonna throw this into the trash. I don't want that to go down in the garbage disposal. It'd probably be fine. But anyway, and so, yeah, it actually was far from disgusting. I mean, it wasn't like delightful, but like that's all I had to do. So you guys, this is not so bad. Don't put it off like I did. Actually get it done. And I'm guessing the more often you do this, the less nasty it'll be every time. And I'm definitely gonna add this to my once a month rotation so it doesn't become, you know, a real problem. So then all I'm gonna do, now I realize, you know, yours may be slightly different, but we're gonna fit it in there and then it tells me which direction to go to lock it. So I can tell that this is now locked in place. All I'm gonna do is go right back in there. It bothers me that there's water in there, but I think that's probably how it's supposed to be. Just screw it in and then I can tell it's all screwed in. That's all there was to it, y'all. So don't put this off as long as I did. Do it today. If you have a front loading washing machine, if you have a top loader, you can go ahead and skip this segment, but if you have a front loader, there is a thing in the bottom that you are supposed to clean about once a month. My washing machine is new. I haven't done this yet before I had a top loader. So this is my first experience. So we are gonna do it together. I have watched videos on people doing this, but it's really important to maintain your washing machine. This is also one of the reasons I personally chose to get a front loader because in my top loader, I knew you could hear it sloshing around, that there was water kind of behind the basin and there's no way to get it out. And it was pretty nasty. I also think it contributed to the washing machine smelling bad despite us, you know, doing those wash cycles on it. So that's one of the things I'm excited about for this one is that I can get to that water and empty it. So we're gonna do that together. You're gonna need an old towel to put on the ground because you don't want that water falling on the ground. And then some kind of container. If you have a disposable like Cool Whip container or something, that's ideal to catch that extra water in. And it should be pretty simple. So I'm gonna take you along. I'm about ready to go in my laundry room and I'm gonna show you the process. So I've opened this. I just wanna mention, it surprised me how difficult this was to open. We had to use a coin or a flathead screwdriver to pop it open. I think some are easier, but this one wasn't a piece of cake. Then there's a basin here that you can kind of pull out. All right, then I pull straight out on this thing and you can see how the water starts to come. I'm just collecting it with a towel because there's nothing that really fits under there. other than a towel. And then this thing we'll take to the sink to clean out. You can see how there's a random eraser in there and some other gunk. So this needs to be cleaned. All right, so I've now cleaned this little thing. I used the high pressure sprayer in my kitchen sink. I also had to get a paper towel and get a little bit of hair out. It was far from disgusting, and this is a few months. So editing version of me here in for a very important announcement. Do not proceed before watching this. So I filmed what I just showed you and what I'm about to show you a few days ago. And then a couple hours later, I ran a load of towels, including the one that I'd used to, clean up the water. And I'm downstairs working in my office. All is going well. About 30 minutes after I turned on the washer, I walk out of my office. Now my video room where I record my videos is right next door. And as I'm walking out, I hear what sounds like a rain falling from like inside the house. And I'm like, it's not raining. What's going on? So I follow my ear. I glance in the video room and y'all, this is what I saw.
Yeah, and when I came in here, the light was on that fan.
Literally, it looked like it was raining down from the ceiling out of like one of the can lights and the ceiling fan that, as you have probably already guessed, is directly below the laundry room. And what turns out, I'm not going to give you the whole story, I had apparently not put the filter back in properly. And that caused all of the water that was in the washing machine to leak onto the floor and down, in the basement below, rather than going out the, pipe where it's supposed to go. So if you do this, be extremely careful, y'all. Because I even watched back my video and I was like, yeah, I made sure I got it in there really well. I obviously didn't. So, you have got to be triple sure that your filter is back in there well. And what I'm going to show next, no, that is the wrong way to do it. So do it better than I did it. And you might even want to, on the next load, watch your washer carefully, but make sure you do not make the same mistake that I did. And then I'm just going to push it straight back in, making sure that it's in there. I can turn, but yeah. And then I'm just going to replace this cover right here of it, which may be a little bit tricky. I might have to remove this, which ironically, I'm taking this towel and putting it right back inside the washing machine to get cleaned. Wow, you made that look easy. All right, then I'm just gonna wipe up the floor a little bit more with a paper towel. I'll throw more towels in and wash that, and we are good to go. The bottom of the washing machine is now clean. This one may not technically be cleaning, but it's definitely in the home maintenance arena, and it's incredibly important. So I wanted to mention it here, and that is trading out your air filters in your HVAC system. So in your heating and your air conditioning, most of them, at least here in the US, have filters that you are supposed to remove and replace periodically. There will be disastrous consequences if you don't do that, including your unit will simply, it'll stop working. And so you want to make sure you are doing this on a regular basis. It also shouldn't be wildly expensive. You can usually go to your hardware store and get your filter. You will go look at the filter that's currently in your system, take a picture of it, and then either go to the hardware store or go online and buy that exact filter. And it's going to depend on the filters. They should tell you what the frequency of changing it is. Also, like, for example, if you're in like Florida where it's ridiculously hot and you're running the AC all the time, you may need to do it like once a month or even more often, versus if you're not running your HVAC very often, like in the spring months or something when it's more temperate, you may need to do it less often. It's usually in the neighborhood of about every 1 to 3 months. If you're undecided, I would highly recommend that you do this more often. And this is one of those things that doing it will take you, 5 minutes and will be just a few bucks. But if you don't do it, it's going to be way more costly, both in terms of time or money. So make sure that you have that on your regular home maintenance. Many of us don't think about cleaning on top of our refrigerators. And this can get extremely dusty and dirty. Now, I want to say this. In a sense, maybe it doesn't matter too much because I don't think anyone is really tall enough to see over it. Like, you're not going to visually see it, and I don't think anyone can actually see it. So in that sense, it doesn't matter. However, in some cases, and even I have done this. Now, I hate things on top of the refrigerator. I think it looks cluttery. Now, you may not mind. You may store things there. If you store things there, obviously it needs to be clean. But even me, who doesn't like to put stuff there, every once in a while, I've ended up just temporarily, like I didn't have somewhere to set something and I set it up there. Then I go to grab it and it's full of all this dirt and ick. So I would highly recommend that once every, I probably do this once every 6 months or so. I go with a damp rag and I clean that off as best I can. Now, in my case, what I do is I get my step stool, I get up there and I only clean as deep as I can go. So the very back of it, I guarantee you is filthy, but that, well, I don't love that. I was gonna say it doesn't bother me. It bothers me a smidge bit, but it's not worth me risking my life and like getting out the ladder. And there's no way I'm gonna put something back there because I literally can't even reach it when I'm on a step stool. So personally, I clean as far back as I can actually reach. If you wanna be an overachiever, by all means, go ahead and get the whole thing cleaned off. Another area many of us forget to clean that can gather a lot of dust is under the bed. Like, when's the last time you looked under there? In our case, we have a hard floor and no rug, and it collects dust incredibly fast. So if you have nothing stored under there, it should be pretty easy. Make sure you're running your vacuum under there. It shouldn't take you much extra time. If you have a really, like we have a pretty wide king bed, you may need like a long handled duster or something to run under there and keep that clean. Now, if you are storing things under there, you'll want to periodically kind of pull those out and dust under there and make sure, especially in kids' rooms, there could be like trash and just random stuff under there. So you'll want to make sure you do that. My robot vacuum can fit, surprisingly, under our beds. However, this is where it gets really important. One time it went under, I think, my son's bed, and there was a clear, like, little zip top baggie, but I glanced under there and I couldn't see it because it was very clear, and then it sucked in that baggie, and that was a problem. So you're gonna wanna make sure, even if you're running vacuums or robot vacuums, that you are periodically checking under there and clearing stuff out. Now, I do not do this on a weekly basis or anything like that. For most beds, it would be every 6 months. For our own bedroom that just seems to collect dust, I really do probably once a month when I'm vacuuming, I'll just run that vacuum right quick under there. Another thing that I think people forget to clean is dusting your fans. So if you have ceiling fans, you need to dust those every few months to get all the dust off the top of the blades. And I actually have a friend who has a story about how I think she was hosting like a baby shower or a bridal shower, and it was getting kind of, warm with all the people, and somebody turned the fan off and then fan on and dust goes flying everywhere. So you don't want that to happen to you. So you need to, they make products specific to dusting off fans, and you'll want to make sure that you get those dusted. A big one that a lot of people forget to clean, and in my opinion, this makes one of the biggest differences, is your screens. So that would be your phone screen, your laptop screen, if you have a regular computer screen. What ends up happening is that it accumulates a little bit of dirt and little spit particles and things like that gradually over time, so you don't notice it. But then when you clean it and give it a really good wipe down, it's like you feel like you got a new computer. I love that feeling. I try to do this in my monthly routine. I have the spray and a microfiber cloth. I'll link to what I use. I don't know that it's necessarily anything special, but it works for me. I spray it on the cloth and not directly on the screen. I make sure the computer is off. I just wipe it down. When I first started doing this, I was too shy with like the amount of product I put on the cloth. It actually streaks less if the cloth is relatively wet with this stuff. So that's what I have found. So I'll just wipe down my laptop, my iPad, my computer screen, and my phone. And if you think about it, you touch your phone all the time. So phones, I will wipe down even more often. I have glass cleaning wipes that I always kind of have on hand, A, to clean my glasses, but B, sometimes if I've used all my glasses, I'll just wipe down my phone screen with it. Next, you're really supposed to clean your shower heads. And there are lots of different methods online for doing this. This is especially true if you live somewhere like I do in Indiana where the water is super hard. It gets kind of that green stuff and crusty. And I've seen people like put like plastic bags and kind of so they can soak their shower head. So this is something that's really easy to overlook, and really once you have it clean, all you need to do when you're cleaning your shower is real quickly clean that shower head to keep it maintained. Okay, this one, not my favorite thing to clean, but it gets really, really dirty, and that is your trash cans. The trash cans themselves, especially the kitchen trash can, just can get so dirty. And so every once in a while, it needs a really good scrub down. I like to do this in the summer when it's like warm outside. You can do it with your garden hose and like get some cleaner in there, really wipe it down. Of course, get your rubber gloves and really get it clean. Also, this is me. I use a rag that I'm ready to dispose of. So like, for example, if you have like even a body wash rag, I have a couple that are starting to get holes in them that I need to get rid of. That is the rag that I will use for the trash can because it grosses me out to save the rag for anything else. And it makes a big difference when your trash can is clean. Your toothbrush holder is something that you definitely need to clean. And if you look at those things, they get icky. So like if you have one of those and then whatever's left on your toothbrush kind of drips down into the bottom of that. Now I have seen some more modern ones that have different kinds of like trays at the bottom and kind of venting systems, which I think is great. But if you have the standard, one like I have, you are gonna need to wash that every 3 months or so, I think is ideal. Bonus if you have one that's dishwasher safe. I have some. No, you want to make sure it's dishwasher safe. I wouldn't say that they all are, but if they are, all you need to do, I usually rinse it out right quick and then throw it in the dishwasher and get it clean as new. You definitely need to be cleaning your coffee maker if you have one. Now, I personally am not a coffee drinker. I literally drink like 0 coffee, but my husband is a regular coffee drinker, and for several years he had one of those like, I don't know if it was Keurig brand, but that kind of idea where you do a single serve and you put those little cups in. And he was having some like allergy problems. I have no idea if this was related, but he started researching and realized, I wonder if there's like mold and mildew in my coffee maker. So he started cleaning it, like you run really hot cycles, just water through, and it was shocking how much ickiness was in there. And he had to run several cycles of the hot water through, and they would still come with at first some residual coffee, but I think there was actually mildew in there because it stays pretty damp, and you obviously don't want that. So you're gonna wanna make sure that you clean your coffee maker regularly. And this is one of those things that it's really, really hard to get clean if you let it build up, because you can't like take the whole thing apart and really get in there and scrub. You have to rely on the water going through it. So if I were you, it doesn't take that much longer. I would run those hot water cycles maybe once a week or so to really keep it maintained. I know not everyone has this, but if you do, you need to be regularly cleaning your garbage disposal. It can get icky or even really stinky, so you're gonna wanna clean it periodically. I personally use a brand called Plink. They look like marbles. You just drop one in. They have the instructions right on the package. I think you're supposed to run a little water in it, drop it in, let it run for like a minute. It smells amazing. So I love these, and I do these not every day by any stretch, but at least once a month, if not once a week. I will run these through. You can also usually on most modern garbage disposals remove the part where it's like the black plasticky part where the food goes in. You can take that out and clean that. So you should do that periodically as well. Next, I highly recommend you go watch my video about the one thing you need to know in order to keep a clean and tidy home.